Hi, Kanasham.
Hi,
Long time.
hi, Madhuri. Been ages.
I know. Last time we met was we were reciting poetries together,
Yeah,
and then I think it's been 5 years.
more than that. In fact.
More than that.
Yeah,
Really? Okay. How have you been, sir?
good, good. How are you doing?
I'm great. So here we are sitting together, virtually meeting again with a very beautiful book of Butterflies by Preeti Singh.
Yes,
And I
it's a beautiful
know
book.
I have two poetries. This I did read the author's note, and before I start anything, like I pinged you yesterday, and a short note that you have sent, I would like to recite that.
Sure.
जो गुजर गया वो एक पल था, जो अब है वो भी एक पल है. कुछ भी नहीं है ऐसा जिसे मैं खूंटे से बांध दूं और तुझे अपना परिचय दूं कि देख ये मैं हूं. So when I asked you, what should I say about you? This is what I get. Some lines. So if I wouldn't do a justification, if I tell, I introduce you. So I really want you to tell about yourself, sir.
We always have this, we humans always have this hang up, We search for an identity, then we search for landmarks. We want our footprints, and we have, goals, and we have milestones, and we take great pride in all this. So formally, if you want it that way, like I am Colonel Shyam Sundar Sharma, Shaurya Chakra, decorated war wounded veteran who did about 22 years in the army. I've traveled the world and seven seas, and uh, I'm a poet at heart. I love literature. Uh, I'm a lot into birds and nature, and I write and I read. And I'm with the corporate now for the past few years. And I don't think we should have much hang up
Mhm.
on what I've done in the past. What are we today in this moment? That is what matters.
So, Colonel Saab, epilepsy. Uh, I mean, like, if epilepsy is not something you choose to have, it's something you live with. I have seen in my professional career as well, when I worked with the Ladli Foundation, there were a lot of girls who were epileptic and never married because इसको मिर्गी के दौरे पड़ते हैं. That's been said. So, how epilepsy was introduced in your life?
Well, my younger brother was diagnosed with epilepsy. He had episodes when he was just about 4, 5 years old, and I'm 3 years elder to him. So I was like 8, and it was
Okay.
quite shocking. And we got to know about it at that time. And I have been introduced to epilepsy since then as a child. And
Okay.
the point you mentioned about girls not being married because they had epilepsy. Women,
Mhm.
particularly, we tend to single out more, like for punishments and everything. And our society as
Mhm.
such, like everybody who's differently enabled, we are too harsh on them unnecessarily.
Mhm.
And just because somebody is differently enabled or he has a particular illness does not compensate, does not make him a lesser human being. I mean, where are we going with this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So even people usually don't come out. People think that epilepsy, depression, or dyslexia, or these are the things that make them weak, make them socially weak. They are underconfident. They don't come out and speak about it. And I really wish to congratulate Preeti saying that she actually nagged a lot of people, got after them to write, and I'm sure she must have done it with you. She has this thing in her
Totally, totally.
to
When she had this book in mind, and she asked me to contribute poems. I said, look, I'm not epileptic, and why do you want me to write? She says, no, but you told me your brother is epileptic. And that was something I did not want to write upon. Like, I write on birds and nature, and I write on very dark things also. And but this is something which my subconscious had always avoided. And I was, in fact, it forced me to think that why haven't I written my brother? It's too sensitive a topic, and she managed to push me to write. Your credit goes to her.
And yes, she sent me a signed copy. This is all in her life is more of a bashing partner. She's too elder to me. I call her Preeti D. But yes, I mean this is something, I think she said to me that this is my saturation point of writing. This is, even if tomorrow I die, I don't want to left behind, or I don't want to die without telling people that how my life have been being an epileptic person. So coming down to this phase, did it feel like going through, how did it feel like that, other sibling having epilepsy? Did you feel neglected? With your brother getting all the pampering attention from your parents or everybody around it? How did you feel being a normal person?
My brother, actually, even I was also overprotective about him when he was a child, and as a child myself. And yes, maybe in the subconscious mind somewhere, I did have that thing in me, that because probably we were in Nigeria, and the studies there were not too great, and so I came to hostels in India from class 4th onwards. So maybe somewhere in hindsight, I had that thing, that probably I was not a loved child, but I don't know about that. But yes, we are all very protective about him even till now. And in my case, my brother, he also has, he's mentally dull. So that also, he's a dependent for life. Yeah, that factor is there.
Okay. So I am sure, being a child, 8-year-old child, you did not understand why your brother is getting all the attention and you are not.
Yeah, it took me a while to realize. But then the way we are, the way siblings are, to the outside world, you're always more protective about your sibling. You may not like him personally. I mean, I'm sure that the same with sisters also, like they gang up together against the world. So
I know. I don't have siblings. I'm the only child of my parents. So I have sisters from another misters. So we are very protective, and we do a lot of gossips and bitches and bitching, and also Preeti Singh is one of those gang member where we talk hours and hours. However, we barely meet because we live in very far away. So like you said, being protective. So over the years, you have been overprotective of your brothers, or allowed him to, lead an independent life. How did you do that? I mean, you felt that, I should protect him because he needs special attention, or you thought that let him be independent, let him do his things himself?
in my brother's case, it's slightly different because he was also, he's mentally dull. He has 50% mental disability. So we had no choice but to be overprotective about him. We did try to introduce him to various, vocational fields, but it didn't work out. And now we're talking of, we're talking of 70s and 80s. I mean, what it is today, like you have things like depression, you have, like my younger daughter, she has dyscalculia, a maths disability, and she was allowed to give up maths in 10th board. And my father taught maths, and I'm a duffer in maths. And I'm sure if I had that test in my time, I wouldn't have suffered maths in my life. So we didn't have all those things, way back when we were children. So maybe we could have done better. He could have done better, the vocational training and counseling and things like that. We were protective. Even now we are protective. But he has his own ways. Like, my brother is, apart from his mental disability, he dresses up better. He behaves better. he interacts better with people. I'm more of a recluse. I can write well, but I don't like crowds. I avoid people.
Okay.
I mean, public gatherings and all, I shy away. Even this is a trauma to me. What is happening in this interview? And
I know we had been like
yeah,
doing it today. Okay, 5 p.m., 6 p.m. I had to chase you for this.
and my brother, he has a very vivid memory. He never forgets a place if he sees it, and
Okay.
he can, he knows it by heart. And I'm always lost. Like I wouldn't even remember my old girlfriend's house. Having been there so
Okay.
because
So I mean, like,
probably because I'm thinking something else. I'm dreaming a poem, or probably I'm looking at birds. Uh, I'm a
I get that. I get that. So wow, I mean, like, this is a news to me that you don't remember your girlfriend's house.
I remember the house. I don't remember the way to the house.
Oh, great. And he remembers it.
Huh? Oh, I don't think
It-
brother there.
Yeah, great, great. So I know you as a poet. You have a lot of poems, which your book is published recently. Congratulations for that,
Thank you.
right?
A lot of effort.
And yes, I really want you to recite a short poem for
Yeah.
Preeti Singh, for everybody who is out there with epilepsy.
This is a poem called Paper Planes. This is when I was a hostler in Missouri,
Okay.
in class 5th, I think. This is from that time.
Okay. All right.
I have a quote with this. A breeze blows up, touching my cheek like a child's kiss. It flutters a piece of paper. Trash out there. Must belong to one of us. We move closer, and when I reach for it, I find a perfect paper airplane. This is the poem titled Paper Plane. His poems were so ruffled then, never shared, instead declared to the winds. Sitting on the ledge just below Gun Hill, you will know if you have been to Missouri. Unfazed by his illegible handwriting, poor grammar, and syntax, he scrawled his feelings on white sheets of paper, folded up each poem neatly into paper planes, and set them to fly and glide with the winds. Some got trapped in the undergrowth, some crashed before taking off, yet some flew out of his hands to beyond, gliding to where eyes couldn't reach. He never kept any copies. It wasn't easy for him to read his own feelings.
Very beautiful. I mean, being a child and this plane has their own memory. I also have memories of Missouri the last time I went, but yes, it's been long since I traveled.
Yeah, since all of us traveled.
I know. This is how we are traveling. All Instagram stories of travel now. You said you have a dog with epilepsy,
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
right?
this is Zeus. He's a golden retriever, and he is, like a close friend says, Zeus is Zen.
Okay.
He epitomizes Zen. He loves everyone, and he wants to be loved. He wants attention. And it was shocking that this poor pup, he had epilepsy, and he had a few episodes. It was quite scary. There are no warning signs. It just happens, and
Okay.
at that time he doesn't know what is happening to him. And some episodes are so bad that he even pees all over, and then he is in the pee, breathing in the pee and
Okay.
all that. But it lasts for about a minute or two. I have another dog, a German Shepherd, who's extremely protective about him. And
Okay.
because Zeus came as a pup and Adolf was already a full grown, so
Okay.
he comes and sits next to him. And my daughters know about his episodes, so we are all careful with Zeus, that so that there are no accidents, because he could be running and have a seizure. Luckily,
Okay.
the past 1 or 2 years, there've been no episodes. Touch wood.
Yeah, that's good actually, because I know that I'm a dog lover. I would rather say that I love my kid, right? Because she also went through a major surgery. She is 12, and she is the senior citizen of my family. We already call her Buddhi, so instead of Gucci. So yeah, I know. And so, do you? I mean, with Zeus, is it something like you have some medication? There is somebody always have to be around, or does he give any symptoms before getting this seizure?
So like I said, there are no warning signs. Generally, somebody is at home, my daughter or someone is at home, and
Mhm.
I'm happy that the elder dog is there. This is Adolf. Let me show you.
Hello,
Yes,
sleeping.
yes.
You also have a cat.
Yeah, I also have a cat. They
Yeah.
get along very well. This is Zeus.
Hello. He's such a doll. Mine is camera shy,
Mhm.
and whenever I try to click her, she's like, "Dude, stay away." You and I have no connection. I am daddy's girl. So this is so journey with this book. You wrote 2 poems here. So you know, all what came in your mind before writing those poems?
My
How did
brother's one was particularly very difficult because it's a subject I didn't want to broach, and Preeti Singh kind of forced me on it. She can be very persuasive.
I know?
And
Here comes the truth.
yeah, because I actually write, I mean, I've written on things like, paperweight.
Mhm.
I'll quickly read out this to you. This is the one I wanted to read. I couldn't find it that thing. Flight authority. I'm so sorry. I weigh you down. Come be my wings. Let us flutter away. Said the paperweight with a heavy undertone to the paper below. Are you sure? Rustle the paper beneath, flaring up at the fat blob of the glass above. I'm an unfinished poem. What if we crash? Ficker not, my friend. With vague voice, the paperweight replied, poems are always unfinished, just as life or flight. So what if we crash? You can flutter away, and I might just break even or be the odd one left. Come, let us fly this flight from this dead desk to the infinite. So I could write things on paperweight, but I wanted to avoid my brother, and because I'm very emotional about him. But yes, I did it.
I understand. People don't come out because it's really important to accept what people consider as a setback in our lives. I think so. And she's in coming out with this book and having a lot of people, and she told me that a lot of people are now coming reading this book and coming out and saying that also we in her Facebook messenger that ma'am, we also have epilepsy, and
Yeah,
you actually made us come out.
it's
I think
surprising
that is,
because she had been
yes,
reaching
that
out
is
to people.
something.
She had been reaching out to a lot of people before the book when she was compiling the book, and they didn't want to come forward. So yes, the book is
Mhm,
working. It is actually awakening people to come out. And why do we have to conform? Like why do we have to conform to anything? Like I have been a hostler and I have been in the army 22 years, and I still
mhm.
don't want to be disciplined. And there's still a child in me which is always doesn't behave my age. And why not? I mean, there's just one life we have to live.
Mhm. Even like today only I got to know there is something called this maths problem. I mean, I had that. I am a commerce pass out, but I didn't take maths, and I really wanted to take maths, and I mean, like, this is a headache to me. I hate maths.
Mhm.
So yes, I mean, like, this is the reason I dropped my company secretary. I enrolled for CA and I dropped it because I literally hated maths. I
It's
am
called
good in
dyscalculation.
Yeah, correct. I'm gonna read more about it. So I now have an adjective for me for not liking maths and avoiding finance.
Yeah.
Okay, Preeti Singh, coming down to her, she can be quite harmful. She is persuasive. She sends you a long voice note over single thing that I will call you, but it will be a 2 minutes voice note that says I will call you. So what was your experience with Preeti Singh while writing a book? Because she can be annoying sometimes. She's very annoying. And give some tips for that. Give some tipney that
Like for you, I'll tell you, you can pull your hair. Like I don't have much hair left. So I can't pull anything. But
you said you were possessive about your hair, which you don't have.
oh yeah, I don't have any more. Yeah, like there's a time when I had beautiful lush hair, and then lost a lot of it. The army took away, and then
Okay.
the postings and in China border and things like that, you tend to lose hair, and then of course life erodes you gradually. So you lose hair, you grow fat, everything takes
I can understand. Even single strand gets out, and I'm like in a panic mode. Like, oh my god, I'm getting hair fall.
So with Preeti Singh, it is like I try to remember that she means well at the end of the day. She has a good heart. She has good intentions. So the method I can overlook sometimes. It's okay.
Yeah, the nagging, correct. Yeah. So this is for everybody who who encounters Preeti Singh, that she can be annoying, but at the end of the day, she has a good intention. So please, handle with care, and this is the byproduct of being connected to Preeti Singh.
And I thought to her, like she's worked very hard on this book, and
yes,
she was searching for a publisher. I'm very happy that Renu Kaul Vitasa has published this. Very good publishing house. And
I'm gonna get hand on Renu Kaul and get her on camera, because that's what is something needed. Yeah. She needs to tell the experience of this book as a publisher.
Yeah.
Right. What else, Kanal Saab?
I wish the book does well. I wish people are doing well. This is not the end for her. She should keep writing and keep inspiring.
Yes. Absolutely. And I think now it's time for you to write and pull her, nag her, that write some poetry, because she doesn't write poetries.
I will. Preeti Singh writes fiction. You also write fiction, I believe.
I used to write, yes.
I find writing fiction, I love fiction, but I don't even read it nowadays because I get tempted to write, and particularly the short story format demands discipline, and I don't want to be disciplined. I have very few years left to live, and I don't want to be disciplined. So
yes. I used to write, and because of all the occupational, educational, personal hazards, I stopped writing, or I would say I changed my priorities from writing to them. But yes, as Preeti Singh's most annoying sentence, "Kal ho na ho," 2020 made me realize that eventually I'm gonna die, and at least I should do something which I love, and I love writing, whether it's the Hindi satire in Hindi poetries and short stories or erotica. This is what my love of life was.
Why not?
Yeah. So I'm gonna come back.
Anything which gives pleasure, why not? Yeah.
Absolutely. So it's time for me to come back again, or maybe I'll hold Preeti Singh write fiction this time, and you hold Preeti Singh write poetry this time, right? Yeah. So Kanal Saab, absolutely good seeing you. I am happy that we connected again, and a lot of talk sessions I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna grab you again over the poetries.
Pleasure.
Right? So see you again. Have a good day.
Bye.